Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're doing well. I'm back here with my good friend Spenser Call. Again, he's a personal injury attorney here at Bighorn Law in Chandler, Arizona. Grateful for your time here, Spencer. Thanks for meeting with me again.
Yep, glad to be with you again and to talk with your customers and potential customers out there.
Yeah, we appreciate your knowledge and expertise. And as you can see, we're here doing our part to be a good global citizens and wearing our face masks and trying to be as socially distanced and aware as we can here and bring this video to you today. Wanted to bring up an issue that you might not think about often, but something that's going to be important for you as a driver, someone out there that is insured, and doing what you can to protect yourself and know what you should do in the event of having an accident. So, if you are to get in an accident, what do you do? Well, I did some research and some thinking here as an insurance agent and put together some steps here for you. I consulted with the Insurance Information Institute and found out from them some of the best steps that you can do, and also bringing Spencer in here from the legal aspect to help you know what to do once you do get into an accident, so you can make sure you take the proper steps. First and foremost, if you do get in an accident, check yourself. Make sure that you're okay. Make sure that you can move, and if you need, obviously call the police or emergency responders and have them come to check you out. Um, Anything to interject
Well,
there,
I would
Spencer?
just say that, initially you're going to have a lot of adrenaline running through your system. So you might not be aware of injuries or soreness that you have at the time the accident occurs. And so I would recommend that even if someone asks you if you're okay, you might say something rather than I'm okay or I feel fine, to say something like, for right now, I feel okay. I'm not sure what'll happen as the adrenaline wears off. Just so you can be clear that, most of the time you're not going to feel it for a few hours and maybe as many as 24 hours.
Yeah, so definitely make sure you're aware of what's going on, as aware as possible. Also, once you know that you're okay, check with your passengers. Anybody else that may be in the automobile with you, check with them. Make sure that they're doing all right, because you do need to make sure that everyone is doing okay, and that you can help them if need be. Now, if something comes to where you are injured beyond comfort level, try not to move. Try to stay there and be as careful as possible not to further any injuries. Any thoughts on that, Spencer?
No, that's exactly right. You want to just make sure that you're taking care of yourself, that you're not going to cause yourself any further harm. And this includes being, of course, aware of your surroundings, where you're out on the road. What's going to happen to you if you get out of your car? Is it safe to get out of your car? Has other traffic stopped? And are they aware of your situation?
Right. So next thing with that, as Spencer brought up, is making sure you're aware of where you are. Now, if you're in the middle of the road or just in the flow of traffic, it's important for you to get to safety. Um, Try and get off to the edge of the road, to a sidewalk, somewhere where you can be safe, where you can get out and make sure that you're able to communicate and not be in the way of traffic. Because the last thing you want to have happen is to have someone come up and hit you from behind. So as quickly and safely as possible, get off to the side of the road, especially if your car is still drivable and the other, everybody else is okay around you.
Yep, and that's the point. If your car is drivable, you should first make sure you're aware where you're at and that you're safe, and then document that if you can, and then as quickly as possible get that car off the road. But if your car is disabled, it's important for you to get to safety, which means that you should put your flashers on in your car, and then you should move across the road and leave your car where it's at if it's disabled.
Something also to note, make sure that if you can, where and when available, sorry, my mask keeps falling down on me here, have some sort of a device that might be able to make you more visible. Obviously, your hazards are there. If you do have an emergency roadside kit, if you have some flares and you can put in there, obviously a good thing to have, but not a necessity, but something that may help you out there. Next, important for you to call 911 or the police. So in Arizona, it's not legally mandatory for you to call the police. Definitely a good idea, and Spencer will go into that here in just a moment. But again, just to make sure you know where it is for you, you don't have to call the police. But if there is an injury, death, or any property damage over $1,000, the police do need to make sure that that is reported. So just so you understand where that is for you. Now, Spencer, on your end as a legal expert, what would you say in that regard?
Yeah, I would say always call the police. 100% of the time, always call them, have them come out. Let them tell you that they're not going to come out or make a report, but you should make the attempt, because I can't tell you how many clients' claims have been damaged or destroyed by not having that neutral, in theory, neutral policeman come out and evaluate the circumstances of the accident. So much of the liability of the accident hinges on what that policeman writes down in his report. So it's really important to get him out there if you can.
Right. It definitely goes a long way in helping to make sure that you can get your claim covered as well. Next is wait for the help. Turn on your hazards, get out, get to, again, the safety, turn your engine off, and wait for the help. It's on its way. So make sure you wait there and that you're patient in that regard. After that, you want to make sure to exchange as much information as possible. Get everybody's names, information, full name and contact information. Also, their insurance company. It's important to know who their insurance is through and what their policy information is, because you're going to need to know that when it comes to make a claim. Also, you want to get the driver's license and license plate information of the other driver or drivers that are involved. Sometimes you have your multi-car accidents.
I'd add the best way to do that is almost all of us have cell phones these days with cameras. Take a picture of their driver's license, take a picture of their insurance card. When we write things down, we sometimes will transpose numbers or letters, and that can mess things up. It's much easier if you just take a picture, and that way you're also getting their home address from their driver's license. As an attorney, that's information I'm going to need at some point, is where do they live, how can I reach them if I need to get a hold of them, and their insurance company is not cooperating with me.
Right, and that's going to be key after the accident, obviously, is making sure that it's as easy as possible for you to get the claim going and to expedite that process. And you also want to make sure that you know what type of car was involved, color, model of vehicle, and just making sure that you know the location of the accident. You want to make sure as well to not admit fault, and that you are not discussing what your coverages are, and I'll let Spencer, speak to that a little bit and the importance of that for you.
At the scene, it's okay to talk to the other person and say, "Are you okay? Do I need to call the police?" For you to say, "I feel okay, we should call the police." But please don't go into detail about, "Hey, you're at fault for this because you ran the red light," or "I'm so sorry that I ran the red light," or "I didn't see you there." Something as simple as saying, "I didn't see you there," can affect your case later on as the insurance company tries to determine who's at fault for this accident. So it's really important. You can be personable. You can be a good neighbor and say, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need the police? Do you need paramedics?" But don't go into any details about how the accident occurred, who's at fault, whether you blame them or they're blaming you. Just say, "Hey, we can wait for the police to show up and document this for us."
Yeah, thank you, Spencer. I think that's important to know, and you want to make sure to kind of leave that judgment of fault or what the situation is going to bring for you up to the superiors or the authorities, making sure the police officer and your insurance adjuster is there to do that for you. So from there, the next step that the Institute of Insurance Information talked about was making sure you document the accident. You want to take pictures. I was talking with Spencer here before we started the video, and we talked about take pictures, take pictures, take pictures of the car close up, but also far away, so you can get directional perspective of what happened in the accident. You want to make sure you get the damage. Also take pictures of the street lights, stop signs, stop lights, flow of traffic. That way everything is going to be shown and visible, and you can definitely help your cause out with your claim.
I can't emphasize enough how important pictures are to helping me process your claim and to get you compensated for your injuries. Pictures of your car and the damage on your car, most people think of that, but also pictures of the other car, how much damage it had on it, where the damage is. All of those things play into determining who's at fault and how much the accident is worth or what your injuries are. And so it's really important to take as many pictures as you can. There's no such thing as too many pictures. And not just the cars and not just the lights and not just the stop signs, but the debris on the road. If there's broken glass or broken taillights or headlights, where that glass goes is important. If there's skid marks on the road, that's important. And make sure you're documenting it from as many angles as possible. The tendency I see with my clients is they tend to take close-up photos of the damage. They tend to take close-up photos of the skid marks when there are skid marks. But as an attorney, I need to also see that from far back. I need a full perspective of the intersection, the traffic, how the road flows. And so take those pictures up close, but also take the ones far back. And this goes back to the beginning, when the accident first happens. If you can take some pictures quickly and safely of the cars where they're at when the incident occurred before you move safely off the road, please do that as well because that can influence your case as well.
Great information, Spencer. Definitely appreciate it. So along with that, not only do you want to make sure to document the flow of the traffic and the pictures and that, but you also want to make sure you identify the police officers involved, get their badge numbers, their names. That way you have all of that corresponding information, as well as before you leave the scene, get a copy of the police report. A few years back when I was rear-ended on the I-10 here in Phoenix, that was something that I failed to do. I didn't know I was supposed to do that. And it took a few weeks to track that down, and I was pretty lucky to get that tracked down so quickly. So you want to make sure and do yourself a favor, and you know the police are busy; they have a lot of reports coming in and whatnot. So make sure you do yourself a favor and gather that information right there at the scene of the crime, or the scene of the accident rather, and make sure that you have that before you leave.
Typically, what the police can produce for you at the scene, and they have printers in their car that generate these forms, is what's called an exchange slip. And it will have the identifying information for the police officer, the date of the incident, its general location, and the full report number, but it will also have the name of the people involved, so each driver, and sometimes it will, and their insurance company, and sometimes it will also have the owner of the vehicle's information. Things that will come in on the full police report will be more detailed, but they should be giving you that at the scene anytime the police respond. So that will help you as well get that information and get it accurately.
Awesome. Thanks again, Spencer. So make sure you're doing that, but then also talk with any witnesses. See if they can give you some reports there and get their contact information, names, addresses, and phone numbers. That way you can have that to kind of substantiate whatever the situation was and help out again in the cause and making sure it's a smooth process when you're going through the claim.
You know, many times witnesses won't be able to wait around for the police to show up because it can take some time for police officers to show up depending on what else is going on in the world. And so it's really important that you get their name and their phone number and an email address if they're willing to give it so that you can reach out to them later, or if you end up with counsel like me, that we can reach out to them. I've had a number of cases where being able to have that witness information and reach out to them after the fact enabled me to successfully win the case for my client. So it's really important to get that if you can.
Right. So, you know, there's definitely a lot of steps in there. Lastly, from my point of view as your insurance agent, make sure you notify me or your insurer to make sure you can get that claim process started. So it's important to get that going right away. A lot of insurance companies can have some sort of a time frame or a time limit on when they can start a claim after an accident. So you want to make sure not to delay that. Put that into motion and get that going right away. If you can, before you leave the scene of the accident, try and give us a call and get that started, but if not, as soon as possible.
And I would say if you have any questions or concerns, or you feel like you're not getting as responsive help as you need from your insurance company, just go ahead and contact an attorney like myself. We're happy to do an initial consultation for free and sort of tell you what we think, help you out in the process.
Yeah. So it's important to know that you have people on your side. You know, when you get an accident like Spencer alluded to earlier, you have a lot of adrenaline going. It's hard to remember these things. So we just wanted to encourage you to try and remember them. If you need to write a list down and take it with you, put it in your car next to your insurance card. That way you have that information right there. So again, just remember, check yourself, check your passengers, get to safely as quickly as possible. Call 911 or the police, wait for help, be patient, exchange information, document the accident, photographs, take the pictures and make sure you know that you have that for your claim, for the insurance, for your attorney, and then also make sure to notify your insurer, your agent, and your attorney, whatever the case might be and how you want to pursue that. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact myself. I'll put my information in the comments here, and also I'll leave Spencer's information. So if you do need someone, you can contact them. Contact Spencer directly here or any of them at Bighorn Law. So Spencer, as always, appreciate your time. Thank you for being willing to go through this.
Always a pleasure, Brooks.
So, well, thank you so much. Drive safely, stay healthy, and if you need anything, as always, please contact. Have a great day.